Meeting the Yuma Union High School District Governing Board to order. If you'll all rise for a moment of the Pledge of Allegiance and moment of silence. Mr. Gonzalez will lead us in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. You may be seated. Appreciate you all coming tonight. It's a nice turnout tonight. Moving on, we'll go to item 2.1, board member report. Board members may have a discussion about conferences, visitations, legislation, special recognition, donations, etc. Does any board member have anything they would like to bring up, Mr. Gonzalez?
Yes, sir, I do. I just want to share the a report that and a conference that I attended on September the 8th through the 10th. It was the 45th annual Law Conference in Scottsdale. On Wednesday, September the 8th, during the pre-conference, the main focus was educating students in poverty. They discussed about the biggest gap and challenges of low-income students' educational attainment. They also talked about how our school districts compare against other districts. And a series of questions were asked, such as how did COVID-19 impact our students' AZM2, which used to be called AIMS, performance passing rates? How did COVID-19 impact our students' growth percentiles? How did COVID-19 impact our students' attendance and engagement during the 2020-2021 year? What steps has our district taken to ensure that all students are learning the standards at the appropriate level of rigor? What evidence do we have that students and the adults that support them have high expectations for learning and hold each other accountable? How closely does reading instruction in our district align to the top 10 evidence-based strategies? How has our district funded high-quality reading instruction, resources, and educated professional learning? So based on all these questions, I know that as a district, we are doing what is possible, and that's as a community, we're making an impact at the state level. 2 school districts have been recognized as an example of good policy in action. Nogales Junior High School District was one of them, and I am very proud to say that Yuma Union High School District was the other one. So, the state used San Luis High School as a reference to determine the impact and what it can be possible, and created a graph using data on the number of high school students attending, ethnicity, household income, number of employed and unemployed people in that community. And the data showed that people in San Luis, Arizona were in the median household earning and were making less than $40,000 a year. That said, percentage of students living in poverty going to college is over 80%. Woo. What all this means is that Yuma Union High School District is making a huge impact by meeting the progress meter goal of 70%, considering the lives of the graduates in our communities that were academically and career prepared and went to college or career training right after high school. So I am very honored to be part of this board and to have such a highly qualified staff working for the Yuma Union High School District. Kudos to all of you. Thank you.
Very nice. Thank you. Any other board member reports? We can't top that one, so no, we'll just go on. Okay, moving on, Superintendents Report, Mrs. Thompson.
Thank you, President Townsend, Governing Board. I would like to invite John Perry up to the podium. John is the, these are his titles, Chief Geek at Imaginary Friends and Print Zoom here in Yuma, Arizona, and he is also a Yuma Union High School District alumnus. He has been a champion for Yuma Union High School District students, as well as our entire community, and he just is so inspiring. If you ever have had the privilege of hearing him speak at the Good Morning Yuma, or especially early in the morning, he is always just a positive force. But when district schools were experiencing issues with supply chain and things for college, for our students who are graduating due to COVID issues and just supplies in general, John did not even blink. He just offered to help and with no judgment reached out and really gave us significant donation of printing diplomas for graduates in whatever schools they were needed. His professionalism also includes always reaching out to me when he is requested to print items that, especially with our Crim head logo, which is very popular, but whenever anyone is really looking for anything with a logo from Yuma Union High School District, John always reaches out to me. He's one of the few reasons I stay on LinkedIn, is to see if I have messages from John Perry. So it's an honor to recognize you. I thank you for being here to be recognized and offer you time.
Good morning, humans, which I guess tomorrow's another one.
Good morning.
I will be doing it again. That's because I came through the programs of high school. VICA, which is now Skills USA, and has trained me well for this one aspect of life. Up a little higher. Turn it down. It's not on. Now it's on.
Not much difference. You have a great speaking voice, so.
Thank you. So I appreciate the opportunities, and I look forward to seeing how I may be able to service the high school district in the future, what opportunities may become so that we can do more things locally if the opportunity arises with what we can do. I wish you all a good evening and the best of luck continuing throughout this year and through the challenges that you are experiencing now and hopefully will be eradicated in the near future.
President Townsend, that concludes my report.
We're not having high school.
Oh, yes, we are. Never mind. Dang. Sorry, students. First up is Kofa High School, please. I was just seeing if you were here.
Good evening, board members and members of the public. My name is Dylan Phillips, and I'm the senior class president at Kofa High School. We've had a great start off to our year, with students wanting to participate in clubs and activities, as well as creating a welcoming environment and culture at Kofa. I'd like to share a few of those examples with you today. First off, 3 KHS seniors, Gavin Marquez, Karina Castillo, as well as Jesus Espinosa, received awards for their submissions into the Veterans of Foreign Wars and Young American Creative Patriotic Art Contest. The recipients of these awards, as well as their art, can be seen in the screen above. Oh, sorry. Next on, our student body president, Isaac Navarrete, was selected to be in State Superintendent Kathy Hoffman's Student Advisory Council. He is one of only 20 students to be selected into this council throughout the entire state of Arizona. Moving on, Student Council kicked off the month of September with a Suicide Prevention Awareness Month lunch activity. Students were able to paint a rock with a positive message and place it into our Positivity Rock Garden, which can be found at the very front of our campus near the auditorium. To celebrate the very first football game that Kofa had at home, we had our very first homecoming Kofa kickoff. Basically what this was for students to prepare their school spirit with t-shirt decorating, poster decorating, games, and music. We were also able to present our homecoming theme, Hoko Rodeo, at the halftime show. In honor of Childhood Cancer Awareness Month, Kofa Student Council was able to hold another lunchtime activity. We were able to invite students to have yellow and gold shirts, pick up a ribbon, as well as make friendship bracelets with their peers. This was also in part with Advocate, which is basically a awareness movement to help the community understand more about childhood cancer. Over 20 Kofa CTE students were able to actually go to a week-long leadership training in Washington, D.C. Our Kofa Future Business Leaders were also able to do their camp up in Pine Summit. Next on, our Kofa Drama Club, which can be seen here, was able to host the very first Spirit Week of the year. Our performance and production class was also able to hold their annual 30 by 60 show, which is basically 30 skits in 60 minutes. Moving on, this also isn't represented here, but the Kofa COFA Junior Statesmen of America, also known as JSA, was able to hold their National Voter Registration Day voter registration drive. Basically, we were able to host the Yuma County Election Services to come to our campus, and they were able to help eligible students register to vote. This is some other pictures of our CTE leadership experiences. Moving on, our fall sports are well underway with both football, swim, cross country, golf, as well as volleyball off to an amazing start. We're looking forward to football senior night coming up here in November. I believe swim's end of the season is coming up here at the very end of October, and golf is looking forward to their last match coming up here within the next few weeks. We're excited to see what they all can bring home, with some swimmers looking actually into going into the state qualifications. As always, I'd like to thank you for having me today, and would like to close off with our motto, once a king, always a king. Thank you again.
Thank you. I'd like to invite San Luis High School representative to the podium, please.
Good afternoon, President Townsend, board members, Superintendent Thompson, and Associate Superintendents. My name is Bárbara Rubalcaba, and I'm the Student Body President at San Luis High School. It is an honor to be here and to have the opportunity to tell you a little bit about what's going on around our campus. Oh, I started. Oh. So starting off with community service, we have an upcoming event that is called Powder Puff, and I'm proud to say that we are going to be donating our gate entrance fees to the Advocate Foundation, which is designed to raise awareness and funds for childhood cancer. Jostens hosted a parent night in which parents were informed about what students are going to be needing for graduation, and I know I can't wait to have my cap and gown. Students' outstanding achievements. I'm proud to say that our school has a very strong CTE program. SLHS has 4 students that were named Arizona Skills Region 1 officers, and those students were Nicole Hernandez, Losiri Mora, Alejandra Pasillas, and Kimberly Rodriguez. Also, 14 CTE students traveled to Washington, D.C., and that was to the Washington Leadership Training Institute. So we got some great leaders at San Luis. Staff and school recognitions. For the athletes of the month of September, we had Karina Esquer from Girls Swim and Alvaro Obregón from Boys Cross Country. For the students of the month of September, it was Valeria Peregrina and Alan Rosales Villa. For staff recognition, we have Mr. Crary and Ms. Carrillo, who were named peer coaches, and they especially focus on social emotional learning, which with this pandemic, students actually really need to adjust to the new school year. Mr. Castillo also participated with the governor to kick off the FAFSA, and with his help, we've had the best FAFSA percentage in the state for the last 2 years. The Sugar Bowl was an event that we held last month, and it was a flag football game between senior and junior boys. It was great to actually hold a big event since we hadn't had one since my sophomore year, and I'm a senior now. And seeing the huge crowd and everybody join together with the school spirit, it was really amazing. And an upcoming event that we have is the Powder Puff, which is a senior and junior girl game that is flag football, and that's going to be taking place on October 21st. And thank you so much for your time. It is great to showcase San Luis High School and our students.
Thank you. And finally, we have Yuma High School. If you would please come to the podium.
Good evening. My name is Ariana Limones. I am the student body president of Yuma High School, and I would like to give you guys a little bit of a glimpse of what's going on at the Yuma High. Alrighty, so this is basically what's going to go on with my presentation right now. These pictures just give you a little bit of a glimpse of what's kind of going on and our students and staff. Campus updates. We are currently working on rebuilding our restrooms. As most of you may know, we are the oldest high school in Yuma, so we pretty much need it. So we are rebuilding our restrooms, in the polished restrooms. Our locker rooms are also almost finished, and we are creating a new nursing program facility. So those are just a couple of pictures you guys can see. Outstanding achievements and classroom spotlights. So our guidance counselors came and talked to us seniors for Gear Up, and it's basically what it is a way to help seniors create more of like a guide to going to college and starting a career. So it's really helpful as a senior. Coming from me, it really is if you do participate in it. And then a special education career exploration. Students in Ms. Joanne Mainley's career exploration class researched a wide variety on occupations of Yuma community has to offer. So really they work really hard on this career exploration. Just with the teacher does help out a lot with the students, so this really helps out with the whole campus involved. Campus recognition for Student of the Month. We have senior, junior, and sophomore and freshmen. We have Maya San Roman, Angel Arona, Delilah Ruse, and Jaden Moreno. 2 of these are currently our student council members, which I'm proud to say. But yeah, they just stood out the most with not only their academics, but as a student. Campus recognition, teachers and staff. Certified staff member of the month. We have Agatha Leon, special education instructional leader, and then Melissa Sanchez, secretary for special education. This one I am most excited to let you guys all know about is our upcoming events. We are showcasing, Student Council is showcasing a homecoming fall festival. It's going to involve all of our clubs with having a little booth, whether it's for them to raise money or if they just want to have a little booth out. It's going to be during our game next Friday at the Yuma High School. And that is it. Thank you guys all for letting me stand up here and present to you guys of Yuma High School.
Thank you very much to our students, and as always, you're welcome to stay, or if you have places that you need to be, you're welcome to exit also. And President Townsend, that concludes my report.
Thank you very much, Ms. Thompson. Moving on, item 3.1, budget update, the overview of the 2021-22 Yuma Union High School internal budget. Ms. Cordery.
Good evening. I have lots of good information for you tonight. So starting with the current year for 21-22, we are 25% through our budget. For our maintenance and operation, that means we have spent $14 million of a $90 million budget. For our capital, we have spent 8% of our budget, or $1.2 million of our $16 million budget. Do you have any questions for current year? Nothing? Okay. So moving along, later in your agenda, you'll be asked to, I believe in the consent, to ratify the annual financial report. So this is for last year. So this is for 2020-2021 for that fiscal year. And I am going to go through that briefly so you know what you're being asked to ratify. So if you go past the cover page, the very first page is actually a breakdown of our main funds that we have in our district, which are maintenance and operation, unrestricted capital, adjacent ways, bond building, and our debt service fund. So that gives you an idea of our starting fund balance, our ending, and all the activity that's happened throughout the year for revenues and expenditures. On page 2, you see a detail of the maintenance and operation fund. What this page shows in detail is that we had a $93 million budget. We spent $65 million of that budget for a difference, the prior year we had almost 64 million, so pretty close to what we had done the prior year, or what we had spent the prior year. And again, there is obviously a difference between 65 and 93 million. That's the money that's being set aside for Summerton for staffing each year that we accumulate. On page 3 is Classroom Site Fund. So this is all of the funds in the 3 categories broken out that our teachers receive in funding. It also pays for our dropout prevention specialists that we hire throughout the year. This actually resulted in a payment of $10,400 for each one of our teachers, which is a slight decrease from $11,800 that we had the year prior. So our teachers are getting, again, this is not figured in their base pay, but this is in addition to what their base salary is. So it changes and it fluctuates every year. On page 4, this is a detail on the top of our capital expenditures. So you can see we had a budget of $12.8 million. We spent $2.1 million of those funds, and the prior year before that was $3.6 million. So we didn't quite spend all that. That's due to the fact that we have ESSER funds available to us. Again, saving that as we're going to need that as we build Somerton High School. So we're kind of keeping those funds available as we need them. The very bottom, you see capital assets. You can see that the district has approximately $308 million of assets. So that's all of our property, vehicles, equipment, things like that, that we have, that we depreciate each year. Page 5. This represents all of our federal and state grants that we receive in the course of the year. The top part is the federal funds. The bottom part are our state projects. It shows you the beginning funds, our revenue expenditures, and again, the ending balance. Many of these you will see show negative balances, and the reason for that is these grants are reimbursable. So if we didn't receive the funds reimbursed from the federal or state grants by the end of August 31st, then it went into this current fiscal year. So we still receive the money, it's just what fiscal year it's actually recorded in. Page 6. Aren't you glad this isn't a 100-page report? So page 6, this is all of our other miscellaneous funds. So this includes things such as our auxiliary operations, which is all of our class fees, student accounts, which is our student clubs. Those kinds of funds are included in here. Also to be noted is the building renewal grant. Again, you'll see a negative amount of $370,000, again reimbursable. So that's just a timing issue of us getting those funds. Page 7, in the top left-hand corner, you see the bonds, the debt. That just shows a synopsis of we had $51 million in bonds outstanding at the beginning of the year. We paid off $6.5 million of those. So we have bonds outstanding as of June 30th of $45 million. We'll be adding to that this year. As you know, we'll be coming for you to sell the rest of the third sale of those bonds. So that'll increase this coming year. Also on this page, we have under letter H, you'll see the average teacher salary. You can see that last year, well, fiscal year 2020, our average teacher made $50,992. This last year was $51,365. Now you may wonder why we gave more raises. That's actually a 0.7% increase, but as we have more tenured teachers that leave and newer teachers that come in, that changes that average. So this is based on average salaries. What's not included in those numbers is the $10,400 that I mentioned earlier. That is part of our instructional improvement fund or classroom site fund. So that $10,400 was paid in addition to the $51,365 as you're looking for an average. Page 8. Page 8 is really just a breakdown of our gifted and special ed, a little more detail about those students and how many students we have in each category. And then page 9 is actually our National Public Education Financial Survey reporting. And it's just kind of a summary of what we've already gone over. They just take out, it's all of everything but capital funds, basically, that's included in there. So they can compare districts. And then the next page is just a summary of everything I have just talked about. They combined it all onto one page. And our final page is our food service AFR. As you know, we had a study session not too long ago about our food service program, and you'll see the ending fund balance here shows $311,000. What's not included in this is $271,000 of expenditures that were paid out of our maintenance and operation fund, and an additional $1.7 million that was paid out of our ESSER funds. As we had told you, we're paying some salaries and things like that out of there until we can come up with our plan to determine how to fix that fund at this point. Having said that, do you have any questions on the annual financial report?
Any questions from board members?
I have one more thing.
You're very clear. Okay.
I am.
And
Okay.
you get to stay up there.
I have one more thing for you on my report, and that is every year when we have bonds that we're selling, we're required by law to give a financial report on our bonds. So our beginning balance on July 1st was $10 million approximately. We spent $5.4 million, and the next presentation, you'll get to see what great things we spent that money on. And then our ending balance was $4.6 million. So those funds will roll over into our new bond sale, and that's what we'll use to help build Summerton High School.
Remind us again what the bond sale will be.
19.5 million. And that will complete our bond sale.
Any questions? Thank you.
All righty. Thank you.
Okay, moving on, bond project update. Ms. Thompson, Ms. Cordery.
Thank you, President Townsend. I'd like to ask Bill Luckhart and Trevor Swenson to come forward for this presentation. And I believe you'll see some things up on the screen in living color.
Well, good evening, President Townsend, members of the board, Superintendent Thompson, and Associate Superintendent Brienza and Anderson. I'm excited to give you this bond update and show you some of the improvements that have happened through the school district from the last 12 months or so. So starting off, these first pictures are funded through bonds. We have the Kofa High School castle wall that was completed, as well as the new parking lot south of the Rios gym at Kofa High School. We also have the new tennis courts that are also at Kofa High School on 32nd Street with new LED lighting. Look amazing. Vista High School, we have a beautiful shade structure with artificial turf. Over at Yuma High School, we've got new lockers in both the girls' and boys' locker room, which has been a much needed improvement. There's another picture of this is the boys' locker room, I believe. Moving on. We also had new lighting installed, LED lighting at Cibola High School tennis courts, which was also a great improvement over the last lighting. At Cibola High School, we also had the press box remodeled on the inside. You can see it's updated. And throughout the district, we have had multiple campuses upgraded with their doors and hardware. This is a photograph over at Yuma High School showing some of the new doors and hardware that's installed. So in addition to bond funding, we've also been able to obtain several grants through the SFB to improve our school facilities. Some of these include restroom projects that have been ongoing at San Luis, Cibola, and Yuma High School. We also have the locker room shower renovation at Yuma High School. We had a extensive window remediation replacement at Gila Ridge High School. Ongoing projects include roofing and weatherization assessments that are going to happen at Cibola, San Luis, and Yuma High School, and then district HVAC projects. So we've put an emphasis on upgrading and improving the situation of our HVAC system, and we've been able to do this through several grants through the SFB. These include replacing old, inefficient air conditioners with newer, updated units, also having assessments and repairs done on our chiller systems at each campus, and we're in the process of obtaining new cooling towers for COFA and San Luis High School. So these are really exciting improvements that are happening. Here are some pictures of some of the completed restrooms at Cibola High School and San Luis High School. Here's a picture of some of the entrances and windows that have been replaced at Gila Ridge. Here's an example of some of the package units that have been replaced at different campuses. And the Yuma High School locker room shower remodel, which is nearing completion. You can see in there's a bucket there. That's still going on. But we're excited to have these projects happen, and it's I'll let Bill talk about the new Summerton High School.
Great. Good afternoon, and it's really such a pleasure to be here tonight. A lot of great things happening on the agenda. So Trevor and the project team have been advancing the Summerton High School, and some of these images you've seen, but what's really significant, I think, is that the School Facilities Board funding has come in, and we've really integrated that into the project. And when you see the GMP on a future agenda item, you're going to see that the scope of work has expanded quite a bit with the available funding. So just a lot of super great things are happening on the project. We have an address. Believe it or not, that's not that easy to get. It's a bit of a mystery of how that happens, but it happened. And we have, with help with John from Mccarthy, we have early release building permits already secured. The main building package is in for plan check. So all these things are just moving forward for a construction start in November. So just a few images that'll be familiar to you. And this is a scope statement. If you remember, we were always targeting a $46 million design to. That was the contracted number with our design team. We expanded that a few months back here with the board action. The scope has grown by over 20,000 square foot, so we're getting quite a bit more building, academic space. So the square foot of the project is now up to 165,000 square feet, 20,000 more than it was last time we reported. And it has a kind of a capacity of 1,400 to 1,600 students, which has grown a bit. We're still developing about 50 acres of that site with 25 acres for future expansion potential. We talked about the importance of integrating different funding. So we've got the bond funds, we've got the School Facilities Board funds, we've got the Adjacent Wave funds, infrastructure development agreement relationships, all these moving pieces that all kind of align on how the project is put together. We're calling it the base school with added scope. During the GMP presentation, we'll talk about the things that we've added. We added 8 add alternates, but we'll dive into that later. But some of the scope is we have the administration building, the cafeteria that has indoor seating for 358, with outdoor seating for additional over 400 students. Athletic amenities is the auxiliary gym is being constructed with seating for 193. Spectators has the wrestling room, the weight room, a football field with lights and seating for 500. Baseball field, softball field, and in the academic program, there's 39 classrooms, 8 labs, 2 art studios, a welding studio, choir, band rooms, 5 special CTE classrooms, 3 self-contained special education classrooms, and staff parking, important, staff and visitor parking, 295, you'll see that on the north side. On the south side, we were able to add in 400 student parking, and it's also kind of surge and event parking spacing, so you got a lot of nice parking that's getting provided. And we're just super excited to keep this moving forward. You've seen some of these images. The colors are going to be still vetted one more time, but this is kind of a look and feel image. This is a kind of a welcoming entry. We have the interior courtyard that has a lot of landscaping, seating, event areas, and this is looking at back one of the workspaces. That little dash line was the 20,000 square foot of added, so that was the fourth small learning facility that was added as part of the adults. So that's the footprint of the building with a little bit of expansion for the future, but a really solid program. And I think that's it. But available for questions. We will do a deep dive on the GMP on another agenda item.
Any questions?
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, item 3.3, first read of policy exhibits. There's a whole bunch of them. I didn't even add up, but there's over 100 pages. Hopefully you all read them. This is just a first read. Some of them come back for approval. Some of them will automatically become part of our policies. And I need to figure out how to skip all of those pages. Okay. So then we'll go on. The next item is the call to the public. Any person wishing to speak may present the information at this time only. All presentations are limited to a maximum of 3 minutes and a maximum of 15 minutes on each subject. Before you begin to speak, please identify yourself by clearly stating for the record your name. Comments by members of the Governing Board in response to any public comment will be limited to asking staff to review the matter or requesting rescheduling of the matter for further consideration at a later date. I didn't get any cards. Is there anyone that wishes to address the board? Seeing none, we'll move on. Consent items are adoption of items of a routine nature and those that normally do not require deliberations on the part of the Governing Board. A board member may pull items which will be discussed and voted on separately. There are 2 corrections under Personnel 5.2. Line 309 should be boys basketball, not girls basketball. And on line 325, it should be Kofa High School, not Vista. Is there a motion to approve the consent items?
So move.
Motion is made by Mr. Gonzalez and seconded by Mr. Lara to approve the consent items with those corrections. Is there any questions or discussion? Hearing none, proceed to vote. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Moving on to, now I get to read. Item 6.1, action items. Consideration to approve the proclamation of School Bus Safety Week. It is recommended that the Governing Board adopt the resolution and proclaim October 28th to 22nd, 2021 School Bus Safety Week. I will read it. Be patient. Whereas approximately 480,000 yellow school buses carry 26 million children to and from school every weekday, whereas America's 480,000 school buses comprise the largest mass transportation fleet in the country, 2.5 times the size of all other forms of mass transportation, transit, intercity buses, commercial airlines, and rail combined, whereas during the school year, school buses make more than 10 billion passenger trips daily, carrying the nation's future, our children, whereas school bus transportation is 9 times safer than traveling in a passenger vehicle and is the safest form of ground transportation available, whereas school buses meet higher construction, equipment, and inspection standards than any other vehicle, and school bus drivers meet higher qualifications, training, and testing standards than any other drivers, whereas the Governing Board of Yuma Union High School District 70 is committed to the safe transportation of the more than 2,500 eligible students daily, traveling over more than 1 million miles annually on more than 100 school buses, and whereas the support and assistance of every citizen of Yuma County is vital to the safe transportation of the students while on the bus, traveling the public streets of the county and while at the bus stop, and whereas the Governing Board desires to encourage school bus safety, and whereas the week of October 18th to 22nd, 2021 is designated as National School Bus Safety Week, And whereas School Bus Safety Week, which is celebrated in more than 40 states and sponsored by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, NHTSA, was created to remind all students of the best ways to get on and off the bus in an effort to enhance the safety of the nation's children. And whereas School Bus Safety Week, which dates back to 1966, also recognizes the hard work and dedication of school transportation personnel, especially the many school bus drivers who ensure a safe journey each and every day. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Governing Board of the Yuma Union High School District 70 supports the goals and ideals of National School Bus Safety Week, and be it finally resolved that the Governing Board of Yuma Union High School District Number 70 recognize October 18th, 22nd, 2021 as School Bus Safety Week, and encourages all citizens of Yuma County to take extra precautions and keep a watchful eye for students and buses going to and from school. Is there a motion?
I move that we, the Governing Board, adopt the resolution and proclaim October 18th through 22nd, 2021 School Bus Safety Week.
I second that.
Motion made by Ms. Mellon, second by Mr. Gonzalez. Ms. Thompson, do we have anything you'd like to add?
Especially at this time, I am just so appreciative of all of our bus drivers and the entire transportation system. Reminder that Yuma Union High School District actually shares a transportation system with Yuma Elementary School District 1 as a consortium. Transportation's very, very expensive, and we are fortunate, as we know, to live in Yuma County, where we get things done by cooperation and collaboration. But it definitely takes a lot of work. Thank you to the CFOs on both sides, and Mr. Sheepers is not with us this evening. I know that we have several routes that he has been working with, and nothing can get done without the drivers themselves. And I continue to put out the plea for more drivers. It takes a very long time to get them all certified, especially through this system and this crazy time in life. So appreciation and kudos to all of them. They do the real work to get kids to school safely every day.
Does any board member have any questions or comments? Okay, we have a motion on the floor. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Oppose? Motion carries unanimously. Thank you. Item 6.2, consideration to approve the proclamation of National School Lunch Week. You get to hear me talk a lot tonight. It is recommended that the Governing Board adopt the resolution and proclaim October 11th through 15th, 2021 National School Lunch Week. I will read the proclamation. Whereas the National School Lunch Program has served our nation admirably for 75 years through advanced practices in nutrition, education, and whereas the National School Lunch Program is dedicated to the health and academic achievement of our nation's children, and whereas the National School Lunch Program has been joined through the years by many other excellent programs for children, and whereas recent research shows students are receiving their healthiest meals at school, and there is evidence of continued need for nutrition, education, and awareness of the value of school nutrition programs. Now, therefore, we, the Governing Board of the Yuma Union High School District 70, do hereby proclaim the week of October 11th through 15th, 2021, as National School Lunch Week, and we encourage all residents to become aware of the benefits of the National School Lunch Program and support good nutrition habits for their children in hope of achieving a more healthful citizenry for today and the future. Is there a motion?
I'd like to make a motion to adopt the resolution and proclamation October 11th through the 15th as a National School Lunch Week.
Motion has been made by Mr. Gonzalez and seconded by Mr. Lara that the Governing Board adopt the resolution and proclaim October 11th through 15th, 2021 National School Lunch Week. Ms. Thompson.
Thank you, President Townsend. Now this we take care of on our own, but not without the one who really does it on her own, and that's Ms. Pruitt, and she's with us this evening. Love to recognize her and all of her work. We had a great study session with you as a board last month. I think it was clear the detail, the strategy, the planning that goes into school lunches. so many rules, right down to how many ketchup packets that we are allowed to order. So I just really appreciate not only Grace but her entire team. Again, the real work gets done on the campuses, working with the students every day, but great things happen with great leadership, and appreciate you very much, Grace Pruitt, and thank you for being here this evening.
Thank you. Is there any questions or discussion? Hearing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Item 6.3, consideration to approve donations. I will read the donations. To Cibola High School, Arizona Association FFA donated $750 to the Cibola High School FFA chapter. This donation will be used for travel expenses for the Cibola FFA poultry judging team to attend the National FFA Convention. To Gila Ridge High School, Mr. Charles Bender of Stone Ridge Church donated PA sound equipment, including speakers, a speaker stand, microphone, and mixer board to Gila Ridge High School. The equipment will be used for outdoor events and school gatherings and be made available to all clubs. The estimated value of this donation is $1,200. Miss Cora Prude, P-R-U-D-E, I'm not sure I pronounced that right, donated 25 cases of water to Gila Ridge High School's yearbook club. The water will be sold as a fundraiser. Donation is valued at $100. Altea Medical Clinic made a donation of $50 to the Gila Ridge High School cross-country team. Chick-fil-A donated $150 to Gila Ridge High School for the purchase of a mascot costume. The Thunderbirds Foundation donated $1,000 to Gila Ridge High School boys golf team. This donation will be used for team expenses, including green fees, uniforms, equipment, food, and beverages. Mr. Paul White of Mesa del Sol donated a total of $1,605 to the Gila Ridge High School boys golf team and the girls golf team. Each team will receive $802.50. To Kofa High School, Mr. Ross Seipert donated various automotive tools and a tool chest to the Kofa High School Vocational Automotive Tech course. These tools will be used by students in the Auto Lab to complete ADE Tech standards. The estimated value of this donation is $1,000. The Ceramic Society Club donated a ceramic and metal frame sign to Kofa High School's Rios Gym. The estimated value of the sign is $100. Donors Choose donated 19 books to the Kofa High School Library. This donation is valued at $400. To Yuma High School, United Way of Yuma County donated 150 backpacks filled with supplies and 100 refillable water bottles to Yuma High School. Estimated value of this donation is $1,500. The Criminal Band Boosters donated aerodynamics, music, and drills to Yuma High School's marching band. This donation is valued at $1,025. The Criminal Band Boosters donated 2 Buffett Crampon Premium Student BB clarinets and 2 Bach trombones to Yuma High School's marching band. Donation is valued at $3,274.04. It is recommended that the governing board accept the above list of donations. Is there a motion?
I'll make the motion to approve the item stated.
Motion is made by Mr. Gonzalez, second by Mr. Lotta, to approve the above donations. Is there any questions or comments? I'd like to thank everybody who's donating. These are a lot of very nice. Big thank you. Yes, big thing. With that, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor say aye. 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 Opposed? Motion carries. Next item, 6.4, consideration to approve the development agreement between Yuma Union High School District and the City of Summerton. It is recommended that the governing board approve the development agreement between Yuma Union High School District and the City of Summerton. Again, that was in your packet. I hope all of you read that. It was quite lengthy. Is there a motion?
I move that we, the governing board, approve the development agreement between Yuma Union High School District and the City of Somerton.
Motion made by Ms. Mellon, second by Mr. Lara, to approve the development agreement between Yuma Union High School District and the City of Summerton. Ms. Thompson.
I hope you read every word of it because it took a long time to get in place and back and forth between attorneys. So read it again. I just want to extend my appreciation not only to legal counsel from both Yuma Union High School District and the City of Summerton, but Jerry Cabrera, his team, and especially our team here in Yuma Union High School District. It just takes a lot of work. The reason that's so long is because building this high school is a big project. And there's a lot that people will never even see because it's underground or it's inside, and it just, you know, from permits to soil samples to just craziness. Couldn't be happier to present this to you this evening, but especially thankful for the ongoing, again, collaboration that it takes to get these kind of projects done in Yuma, Arizona, and the City of Summerton.
Any board member have any comments or questions? Hearing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Thank you very much. Item 6.5, consideration to approve Mccarthy Buildings Company Incorporated guaranteed maximum price for the construction of Somerton High School. It is recommended that the governing board approve the GMP contract for the construction of the Somerton High School. Is there a motion?
I move that we approve the McCarthy Buildings Company Incorporated guaranteed maximum price GMP for the construction of Somerton High School.
I second that.
Motion has been made by Ms. Mellon, second by Mr. Gonzalez, to approve the GMP contract for the construction of Somerton High School. Ms. Thompson.
Thank you, President Townsend, Governing Board. I'd like to once again invite Bill Lucard up, and I would like to recognize John YUHSD as our partner from McCarthy that is here this evening as well.
Great. Just a few interesting notes about the GMP on the time scale. 22 months from now will be the first classes starting. So we're 1 month away from issuing a notice to proceed to McCarthy to get mobilized, contractually started. The construction duration is 18 months, and during those times there's really important touch points with Dean's group, as well as with all the district furnishings and fixtures that are going in. So it's really been quite a collaborative process, but we still have a lot of milestones and a lot of touch points, including with the infrastructure development agreement. But the schedule's working really nicely. We're hoping to have substantial completion in April, and then May of 2023, the final completion, and that allows 2 full months to do orientation, really commissioning a new building, you know, in the terms of getting your instructors there, getting enrollment, working through any bugs, and just kind of, we want a very not rushed. We want a very kind of smooth, nice transition for 2 months without a lot of construction, a little bit of work maybe, but the timeline is really good. So we have 18 months of construction within the GMP. And then if you'll notice on the Exhibit B1, the base GMP was always $46 million. You know, the project team held to that at checkpoints at every phase of the design, but we also were planning for, you know, the opportunity of additional funding and more funding, and, you know, with the SFB dollar values were increased. You know, that was one of the state actions that took place, and that really benefited the project. So we have 8 add-alts that we called them, that we added into this GMP, and I'll just walk through those. I mentioned earlier was the 4th LRC, the small learning facility. That was an add-alt, number 1, a big deal. The next one was some additional CTE academic enhancements. That was really cool. Athletics got pushed beyond SFB requirements and minimums, so that was really great for the sports program. We were able to capture some energy efficiency, which is really good for Trevor and for, you know, the long-term operating costs of the facility. Additional maintenance and value enhancements that at one point maybe we had to cut out, but we added back in because we were able to make them fit into the budget. marquee sign, small thing, but still important. We've added into the GMP the north part of the Jefferson Road. You know, the infrastructure development agreement requires the district to design and pay for the southern portion of the road. The development agreement is requesting that the district design and construct the northern part on a reimbursement, 100% reimbursement. So we're including that in the work plan so that we can have one contractor one time building out the road. I think it's a better product for everybody. We have the student parking lot being paved and striped, which is nice, a nice add. And then we have a bunch of adjacent ways work, which is kind of site utilities, bus routes, and utilities. So all that gets pushed into the $56 million GMP. One other interesting note was we talked a lot about local participation, I think, in work sessions. As it turns out, the direct construction is $24.5 million going to local subs, so that's 51% of the actual construction work is going to local subcontractor base. So we're really pleased with that turnout as well. So, you know, we have a lot of important milestones still to do. Secure the final permit, get groundbreaking going, do the mass grading, build back masonry parts of the project the way Mccarthy's phased it, integrate in all the owner furnishings, the low voltage, the furnishers and fixtures, and all that together is about $4 million. So get all that coordinated in, and then just get ready for a great opening 22 months from today. So any other questions, I could answer those.
I just have a question. At one point I heard a pond
Yes.
to one of the fields. Where's that going to happen at the?
The pond is referenced in the infrastructure development agreement. The cost to construct that, design and construct that pond is the city of Summerton responsibility. The district's responsibility is to provide a pump and a distribution line to the campus. So it's going to be a shared pond once it's built. You know, it can service the city's future park as well as the district.
Okay.
Any other questions? Anxious to get started. Thank you.
So are we. Thank you.
President Townsend and Governing Board, we also have Principal Arviso in the House this evening. I want to highlight that he's been instrumental in the planning phase and looking at it from the lens of an educator who's already running a very large high school. So there's a lot that goes into this. And also want to emphasize Exhibit B3, which is the actual calendar and kind of the build out, the schedule for you to look at when you have time. And it's I appreciate Bill adamantly always keeping us on task with this schedule.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, I guess we need to vote on this. All in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. I believe, nope, the affidavit's when we have to stand sign. Item 6.6, consideration to approve new school construction affidavit for governing boards for school facilities board. It is recommended that the governing board approve the sign the affidavit for governing boards for the school facilities board concerning the new construction of the high school in Somerton. Is there a motion?
So move.
Motion made by Mr. Gonzalez and seconded by Mr. Lara to approve and sign the affidavit for governing boards for the school facilities boards considering new construction of the high schools in Somerton. Ms. Thompson, do you want to add anything?
If there are questions, we're happy to answer those. This is a formality for the governing board to acknowledge both 6.6 and 6.7 are your acknowledgements of SFB requirements.
Any questions or discussion? Hearing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Item 6.7, consideration to approve funding contribution resolution for school facilities board. It is recommended that the governing board approve the resolution for funding contributions for the school facilities board. Do I need to read this resolution also? No.
Not for me.
Okay.
I'm good.
Y'all should have had that. Is there a motion?
I move that we, the governing board, approve the resolution for funding contributions for the school facilities board.
Motion made by Ms. Mellon, seconded by Mr. Lotta. Anything else you want to add, Ms. Thompson?
Only if there are questions, President Townsend.
Any questions or discussion? Hearing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Next item is call for executive session, ARS 38-431.03A2 and ARS 15-843F, discussion or consideration of records exempt by law from public inspection, expulsion. Is there a readmittance? Is there a motion to go into executive session?
So move.
Motion made by Mr. Gonzalez, seconded by Mr. Lotta to go into executive session. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Thank you all. You can stick around. We'll come back for nothing, but we have to come back. Let's build a high school. That's right. In regular session. Next meeting of the board is Wednesday, November 10th, right here. We have a study session November 17th, and we have a groundbreaking November 6th. Is there a motion to adjourn? All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. We are adjourned.